Good day, students. I'm Mbe Messi, a staff of Federal Government College, Port Harcourt. I'm here to teach JSS3 students on the subject Christian Religious Studies. And the topic on the board here is Orthodox Churches. Now, at the end of this lesson, there are 6 objectives on the board here that we are meant to achieve. Number 1 is to explain the meaning of the word Catholic. Number 2, to list the Orthodox churches in Nigeria. Number 3, we mention the first missionaries that came to Nigeria. Number 4, we explain why the initial attempt to preach the gospel by the first missionaries failed. Number 5, mention the names of the first Roman Catholic missionaries that came to Nigeria. Number 6, we explain why the second attempt was successful, and we mention the names of African missionaries who joined in preaching the gospel. In the beginning, there was only one church called the Catholic Church. The word Catholic means universal. Later, as a result of a great movement called the Reformation, the church was divided into 2, where we have the Roman Catholic Church and the Protestant churches. The Roman Catholic Church and the Protestant churches are called the Orthodox churches or the mainline churches. Orthodox churches sent missionaries who established churches in all parts of the world, including Nigeria in Africa. Now, let's take a look at some of these Orthodox churches that were established by the missionaries. Now, let's take a look at some of these Orthodox churches we have on the board here. The first one there is Roman Catholic Mission. In brackets, you have RCM. It is just one and the same everywhere. We have just one. And then the second one there is Protestant churches. We have a list of them using the Roman numeral. We're going to take them one at a time. 1, we have the Anglican Church, which is I. Then we have the II, Methodist Church. III, Baptist Mission. IV, Wesleyan Methodist Church. V, Presbyterian Church. VI, Salvation Army. VII, Seventh-day Adventists. VIII, Jehovah Witness. IX, Sudan United Mission. In brackets, we call it SUM. X, Assemblies of God Mission, etc. The first missionaries that came to Nigeria were the Roman Catholic missionaries. They came some 500 years ago. Although they failed in their initial attempt to preach the gospel to the people. Now, let us look at the reasons why they failed in their first attempts. The first reason is the weather was hostile. When we say the weather was hostile, what are we talking about? You agree with me that our weather here is so hot. You can't compare it with the weather in the Western world. Our weather is too hot. They could not stand the heat, the hotness of the weather. So they failed. The second reason there is there was a language barrier and they needed interpreters. The European missionaries do not understand our local language. We don't understand English either. It became a problem for them to preach the gospel message to the people. The third reason there is the chiefs were hostile because they were afraid that if they allow their people to become Christians, that means they will no longer follow their African religion. These were the problems that the missionaries faced, and as such, they didn't succeed in their initial attempts to preach the gospel message. These are names of some of the early missionaries. Number 1, Hope Waddell. Number 2, Mary Slessor. Number 3, David Hinderer. Number 4, Henry Townsend. Number 5, Father Concord. Number 6, Father Joseph Lutz. Number 7, Thomas Bowen. Number 8, Reverend V. Bingham. Number 9, Dr. Kalkum. However, the second attempt, some 300 years later, to preach the gospel message was successful. Why? Because some Africans had joined to preach the gospel message in Nigeria. Now, let's look at the names of some of these African missionaries. The first one we have here is Samuel Ajayi Crowther. The second name here is Reverend Thomas Birch Freeman. The third one here is William de Grafts. Churches were built in most towns and cities in Nigeria. After the Orthodox missionaries had formed their churches in Nigeria, some Nigerian Christians left these Orthodox churches and went to form their own African churches. This gave rise to the new movement called the indigenous churches or independent African churches. All right, at this point, we've come to the end of our lesson and we've tried at least to cover our objectives on the board, stated here on the board. Now, we have assignments here on the board. You sit down, you look into your notes, and then you write your assignments. Let's know if our objectives were actually achieved. The assignment here number 1 is you list 5 Protestant churches in Nigeria. Number 2, mention 3 reasons why the first missionaries failed in their first attempt to preach the gospel message. When you are done with assignments, make sure you write your name, your class, the subjects, and the topic. And then you forward it to the email below here, fgcphcgclass@gmail.com. Thank you very much. Remain blessed and stay safe.